Hello crafty friends, this is Nye with All Things Work Created. Today we are going to go through the assembly of our 3D Christmas lamppost. If you remember from our cutting steps video, it was a lot of different steps to cut out all of the different parts for this craft, and we're going to have just as many steps for assembling it here. When we have finished assembling this craft, you're going to find that it's going to stand about 24 inches high. And what I have done is I've had to extend my camera stand here up a little bit higher off of my work table to accommodate this height. I'm not even sure if it's totally going to fit underneath, but we're going to find out. But what I'm going to also try to do is make sure that I do most of my assembly down here on the table. And when I do that final part, I'll give you a heads up so that way you know. You can probably also see part of my camera stand here on the side, probably right here where my ruler is. I don't know. We'll find out when I go to edit the video. So with that, I'm not going to do a big introduction for all of my different pieces here. I'm just going to get started with assembling, and I will introduce what I'm using as I'm going. So I'm going to move some of my pieces here. We're going to start with the lantern part. Let me grab my vellum. We're going to start with the lantern part because if you noticed when you were cutting that, there's one part, this part here is very, very delicate, and hopefully yours didn't rip. It's just hanging on by a thread. And so I'm going to go through and assemble this part first so that way I don't have to worry about it. You can see it right here. It's just hanging on by a thread. And so that's where we're going to start. I am going to be using my ruler for all of my side scoring. Even though my machine did the scoring, when I go to fold those pieces, I'm going to use my ruler right along the edge here to really make sure and help me so that way I get that 90-degree angle and these crease marks, these score marks are sharp and precise. I don't want to have anything off a little. If you have a bone folder, let me grab mine. If you have a bone folder, mine has a soft curved edge here. Like even though it's still kind of straight, it's really soft, it's thick, and I don't really like to use that for when I'm actually doing my folding. If I'm scoring my paper, absolutely, definitely I'll do that. But when it comes to actually folding along those score lines, I like to use my ruler. So that's just my talk about that first. So before I start going with the gluing and the folding, I'm going to be using my art glitter glue as well for gluing. I'm going to go ahead and add my vellum to the back of my lantern. So I also went ahead and I found this snowflake vellum at my local Michael's, and that's what I used for, that's what I'm going to use inside my lantern here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my snowflakes, so if you can see one side has my snowflakes and the other doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and put my snowflakes on the outside so it goes on the outside of my project here. So I'll be using my art glitter glue. As you know, it dries clear. I love this stuff. It is my absolute favorite. So let me go ahead and add this right here. And it looks like it's going to give me a hard time today coming out. I don't know why. Because I'm making a video, of course. That's always how it is. I'm even going to come down here in the center. You don't need a whole lot, so let me just make sure I've got the right side. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it down right about there. Oop. Let me flip this over to make sure that it's good. Yep. That's not too bad. I'm going to add it again to this side here. I do want to make sure that I'm not going into where I'm going to end up creasing along my score lines, especially at these bottom parts here. Again, there we go. And then I'm just placing it down. And now, let me move this part there. This is my delicate one here. So I'm going to grab it at both sides and just flip it. All right. have to tell in it's shining off of my light here. So these are my 2 front sides. Okay. So this was definitely a lot of cutting. There's a lot of different steps. Let me move this down just a little. Seems kind of close there. Okay. Now for this last part here. Okay. All right, so that takes that part. Now I'm going to have to flip it back over. Remember, just be as gentle as you can. Let me add a little bit more right here. And just make sure that those corners are really down. Okay, so I'm going to flip it again, just being very gentle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to score here. So what I'm doing is I've got my ruler pressed right up against the edge there, and I'm just pressing it down, and I'm folding along that score line. I'm going to do this part here. I'm going to come back to this part when I'm ready to start to fold. I'm going to come down here though and do the bottom. And then this side here. Push that back down. And then I'm going to do this part here. Just being very gentle along this part. And I'm going to do it this way. There we go. All right, so now that I've got this part scored, I'm going to come back and fold it the other way. So that way my score lines are folding downward. And again, I'm just being really careful. Did I do that one? I think I forgot that one too. So let me do this one here. And I'm going to come right in. I'm going to add my glue right away. So that way I can get this part adhered as quick as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and just add the glue right there and give it that 30 seconds or 5 seconds, 10 seconds to make sure that it really sticks there. And there we go. All right, and so now once you got that part glued, you're good to go because it'll be strong, and you can just go ahead and fold all the different other spots back the other way. My glue just fell. Okay. And this one's going to go that way right there. And then this tiny spot, it's going to stick right here into this slot. Well, it's giving me a hard time right now. There it goes. That's kind of funny. All right. So you can already start to see the shape of it. It's instant, right? Bend this there. So again, I'm going around and I'm really just defining those lines to make sure I've got like that sharp look there. And now we're ready for the other one. I'm going to flip this one over as well to make sure that my angles are correct. So let me just move this there so it doesn't block my light. And what I'm going to do, same thing, is I'm going to come along and I'm going to begin just to score these. You can be a little bit more, excuse me, vigorous here with your scoring because you don't have to worry about a spot ripping off. All right, so just continue to go ahead and score. Use your ruler to help you get those angles precise and correct. It won't take long at all. Mine are all coming up, so let me just push them down. That one I'm just using my finger. This one here. That one here too. And then last is this one here, side one. And there we go. Okay, and so again, once you have them all defined, just go ahead and turn them the other way, because that's you want to make the inside there. And then the top. And the side here. Okay. So there, it's taking shape. And then you're ready to add the glue at the various parts. Okay. And once you start gluing with the 3D shapes, what you want to do is you do want to hold the spot and hold it so that way the glue has a chance to bond and to dry. I'm going to go ahead and press this one down too. And add this one here. And again, like I said, just make sure that the glue has a chance to dry. Because if it doesn't, then it might start to crease up or bend and be loose, and that's not what we want with this project. All right, so then we're going to take the other side, and now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to put it together. So hopefully you guys can really see that. You can see the shape really starting. And mine started to go in there. Okay, so I'm going to add the glue along this flap, and then I'm going to glue it to the side that doesn't have anything on the other flap, on the other part of the lantern. And once again, when you do it, press and hold it, get it lined up just right. Press and hold it and give that glue a chance to bond. If you need to, you can go in from the inside as well. And when I say the inside, I mean you can come in this way, stick your hand, and then just press it down. And then you want to make sure that you do that for the bottom part here. You're going to add the glue to the flap and then glue it to the bottom of the box here. If you need to, just open up this door. This door is going to stay free, because this is how we're going to open and close the door to add our lantern or tea light. And I actually don't have one. I forgot to grab that when I was preparing to do the video. So I'll have to show it at the very, very end. Okay. And what you can see then is it will go in just like that. And now let's glue the top. So I'm gonna open my door all the way, increase it this way just for a moment. So that way I can glue these two parts here. I'm gonna start on this side first. So I'm gonna hold it there. I think I'm almost out of glue again in my bottle here. And then I'm gonna come over here and just add glue, press it again, really give it that chance to adhere. Go in from the inside and just really press it in there. Okay, and then go ahead and seal this part, and that will finish it off there. And so hopefully you guys are able to see all of this. It's hard for me to check my camera too because it's up so high. But this is a fun project and it's worth it. Okay, so you can see the shape there and it looks so fun with this snowflake vellum too. I really like that. I'm glad I purchased it. And then what you would do is you just take the slots, the flaps here of the door, and you're gonna fish it right through the slots. Now the slots are a little bit larger, and I did that on purpose to make sure that you don't have any difficulties getting them to slide in there. And then there. And so you can see it. That's the top of it. It's perfect and so cute. All right, so let's do the cap. So you're looking for this one here. This will be our cap for the lantern. We're gonna stick that right on top. And again, what we need to do is just use our ruler, come on over to the score lines and just fold on the score line. And use the side of your finger just to really make sure that they're at that 90-degree angle. You can press it down again, so that way you can do the other side and just really get that 90-degree angle. And then fold it the other way. I'm just using my fingers now because once you have it going, you're good. And then I'm going to do the same here. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to add the glue to these two spots here and then fold it down. So this is just kind of an open box that we made. That's kind of tiny. So use your fingers there to hold it. Okay, and then do the other side as well. And then again, use your fingers just to hold it and allow it to bond and to seal. All right. And so once you have that part done, what you can do is just bring your lantern over, kind of push in the top parts here, and then just take the cap and it will fit right on top. And it's meant to be a tight fit, so that way it holds it. So if you need to push in those flaps a little bit more, kind of squeeze them just a little bit, it's meant to be a tight fit so that way there's no looseness to it. And so there we go. So that's the top of our lamp post here. Very cute. And the doors will pop open because they're meant to open, because that's where we're gonna put in our tea light. And there's that. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one off to the side here. I don't know if you guys can see it in my camera, but there it is. And I have a little bit of fuzzies here on my bench. Okay, so my next step that I'm going to do is my garland. The reason why I'm doing this step next is because I'm going to be using more glue, this Gemtac glue here, and I want to make sure that it dries. It has a chance to dry. And so when I'm doing the rest of the pieces, I want this to be drying. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Gemtac glue. I have some beads here. I picked these up at my local Hobby Lobby. They were less than $1. They were on sale. 50% off. And so I picked these up. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to use. I also have these diamond dot beads that I picked up at my local Joann's, and these were also less than $1. So what you want to do is just find some beads that you have, some red beads, to add to the garland that's going to wrap around the pole post. That sounds weird. Of the lamp post. It's just to add a little bit extra elements and kind of the decor for the garland here. So I haven't decided which ones I'm going to use because I haven't tried out the size. So I'm going to try it out with you guys right now. We're going to see what's going to work. So I have these beads. I have my tweezers as well, but they might be small enough that I don't know. I'm going to add them in groups of 3, so let's see. I think I'm going to use the diamond dots ones because those are a little tiny and I can add them in kind of clusters of 3. So that way it's not just one. Yep, the diamond dots wins. See, that was easy. They're a little bit smaller. So just those 3, let me put these away. And I'm going to put out a little bit more here. Okay. All right. So when you have your garland here, what we need to do is, because we have to think about the base, it's going to go into the base of the lamppost, and it's also going to sit at the top of the lantern. So that's why we have a little bit extra room here at the ends. We do not want to add the beads really close here to these ends. So I'm going to start in a little bit further. And once I get going, I'm actually going to speed up my video. I also don't have a paper towel here that I normally craft with. I usually have one near me because of my glue issues, and I don't have one, so that is just what it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do though is I'm going to kind of start in a little bit, and I'm not going to finish all the way at the end here. So I'm just going to add a little dab of glue, and watch this be clogged. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I'll tell you, every time. Well, whoops, it's still alive in there. Now I really need a paper towel. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause the video as I'm going here so I can grab a paper towel. Okay, friends, so here we are. So let me just get what spilled out here. And as soon as I turned around, I found my paper towels. And that's just always what it is when crafting, right? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this Gemtac glue, and I'm just going to add a little bit in different areas here. Now this is another glue that dries clear. You don't also want to use a lot because you just don't need a lot. So I'm going to, these are all, they went upside down. So I'm going to use my tweezers here, use my finger and press it down. And what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to speed up the video as I add these. Sometimes it's just easier to use your fingers to do certain things. Okay, so you really don't need a lot of glue, but I ended up getting more out with that first round. And so you're just gonna wanna add it as you go along. You don't have to add how do I say this? You don't have to add it everywhere where you see a leaf branch. You can space it out if you want. I haven't decided how I'm going to do mine yet. I think I'm going to space mine out a bit as well. So I'm going to speed up the video here as I go and add the next couple. Okay, I think that's good. I think I might leave it like this for now. I don't know. I may add some more a little bit later, depending on how it looks on the post. But I'm going to let that go for now. Okay, so I'm just going to push this off to the side. Ooh, do you know what? I just had a great idea. So let's do this part next. And I'm going to add it right here onto this part as well. So let me just add a dab of glue right there. And as you can see, I ended up using my tweezers instead because the Cricut tweezers were just giving me a hard time. So let me press it down there. And let me just grab another one. You don't have to do this here. I just decided to on the fly because I thought it would match. It would go really well with the sign here. So there. Just another quick added one there. All right, so let's glue this part of the sign. So I have my red pieces there. I'm just gonna put that off to the side since I'm not gonna use it. And we're gonna go ahead and just glue this part down as well. So we're back to our art glitter glue. And let's just go ahead and add it here. I'm also gonna add it to this part as well. And let me just come back in here a little bit there. Okay. And then I use my fingers to line up my pieces when I'm layering, just to kind of help me get everything right in that correct position. And then I just press everything down. So I'm going to do that for this part as well. Let me just make sure I've got the right side. Yep. I'm going to add a little bit of glue here along the edge. And then just a little bit here on the chain. And let me add a little bit more right there because it looked like it was starting to dry already. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my fingers just to get that placement and then press it down. And there we go. And now for this part, since that's still kind of drying, I'm just going to try and be really delicate with it here. And just add some to the back. And there, that's different, right? With the sparkles. Okay, let's put this off to the side too. And now we're ready to go back to a bit more of the scoring here. All right, so let's do the post first. If you remember, I had told you during the cutting steps video that if you wanted to use your lamp stand and add it with the sign here, you needed to make sure that you cut out the long part that had the hole, okay? If you're doing yours without, you can still follow this step here of scoring it, but you won't have to follow this part because this will be where our sign will get attached. So again, I'm using my ruler here, and as you can see, mine doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use my ruler and press along the side. And as I'm going to slide my ruler down here so that way I can keep it right along that score line. And I'm going to keep going. And so I will just continue to define that score line and kind of go up and down right here to get it going. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other parts of it. And it's going to be a little bit harder. I should say the paper is resisting, even though it is, the machine scored it. The paper is resisting because it's long. It's a long piece here that we're trying to score. And so again, for the next part, I'm going ahead and I am just defining out that score line. You want to make sure that I've still got it along that score line and that it didn't shift at all. Because this one, we really want to make sure that we've got all of those score lines, because if it's off just a little bit, it's not going to sit correctly inside the bottom part of the lamp stand. So I'm going to do the last part here. Again, I've got it pressed up against the edge. I'm just taking a peek to make sure that it's correct. And again, I'm just using the side of my hand to really get that score line defined, okay? And then once you do, it's much easier to just turn it the other way. I like to have my score lines facing out, so that's why I flip mine. Let me just, let me move this over a little bit further so that way it doesn't get hit. And just do the other side for all of those as well. Okay. And if you need to, you can go and just press it down like this, just to really get all of those there. And then for this last part here with the flap, again, just press it down. Okay. So, and then for the top and the bottom, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to do this part by my hands here. And I'm just going to press it down. And, okay, so this, I'm still in the camera here. I'm going to go ahead and press this part here. And I'm going to add my glue. So I'm going to do it this way. Add a little bit of glue right underneath here where these need to go. Put it there. It's not going to want to stay because there's no pressure on the other side, but that's okay. I'm just going to use my hand and I'm going to add the glue on this part here. And then I'm going to press it down this way. And then just kind of hold it there for a second. And if you want to, what you can do is take it and then just press it down. And so what you can see is we still have the flap to do here. That's okay. So you can see the flap there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the glue along the inside part of the flap here. And you can be generous with this part as well. Kind of go underneath there and make sure that you've got it all. And then press it down. And so in order to do this part as well, what I'm going to do is I'm pressing it down on my table. I'm going to take my ruler and press it down on the inside as well. If you have a pencil, you could do this, or you can just press it down there to seal it and just give it a chance to bond. So I don't think I can get my ruler down any further. And you can see right there. Okay, so now for this top part here that has the flaps, I'm actually going to bend those and leave them this way, because this part is going to adhere to our smaller square of the black craft board, which is where our lantern is going to sit right on top. Okay, so I'm going to leave these open. I'm not going to seal them closed. And I'm going to work on the sign part next, okay? So the smaller one, this is going to be the sign that's actually going to slide right in there and it's going to hang. And so it's basically the same steps. I'm using my ruler to score here, score this one, all of the sides. And then I'm going to go the other way again, just like I did with the larger lamp post, or the larger post. Just score it, all of these the other way. And I'm going to just use my hands to do these bottom ones. Now these will all be folded in on themselves. And so, all right. And so I'm going to glue this part first. So I'm adding my glue here along this part. And I'm going to press it in, and once again I'm going to hold it so that way it has that chance to glue, because it's not going to want to stay. And I'm also going to go ahead and take a pencil and press it down in here to really help it to secure there. So I'm just pressing down on my pencil, which is pressing down onto the flap that I'm gluing. You can come in from the other end as well. And what we're doing is we're just making sure that that glue is sticking. Okay. And if you need to, there. All right. And so once you've done that part, next we're just going to press these and glue these together. So just press and hold it. And again, if you need to, press it down like that so that way it stays. You can do the top part while that's gluing. So I'm just adding the glue again. And then just press that one there. And so we're kind of getting close to being done. It's a lot of scoring, it's a lot of gluing. I'm just switching it over so that way I can get the glue to dry on this side too, on the other end. And that's it. And so what we will do, excuse me, we will then take this part and it's going to fish right through. And of course, there. So you can see, hopefully, well, you probably can't see it, but that's what will happen is this part will go through, and I might flip mine because I seem to have some white residue of glue there. So I'm gonna, well, I'm not sure. I wonder if that's my Gemtac glue that's on here. I've got white residue on mine that I don't want to show. Okay, I think that's okay. All right, so the seal part here where I glued it together, I want that to face towards the back. And so what I'm going to do is I have mine here. I'm going to turn mine and rotate it this way. So that way it's facing downward and it's towards the back of my sign. And I've got it there like that. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to add it here to this back part. And I'm going to fish it through the hole. And I'm going to stick my hand here and I'm pressing it and I'm holding it. And I want you to look at yours. So look at yours in the front and make sure that it's at that 90-degree angle and press it and hold it. Use some pressure in your hands so that way I can lift mine, you can see, because I'm pressing it together. We want to make sure that we're waiting at least 30 seconds here to give the glue a chance to dry, and also so that it dries at that 90-degree angle. Because what will happen over time if you do not allow this to completely dry is you're gonna find that the signpost, well, I can't move my finger, but this part here will eventually begin to tip downward and your sign will not stay at that 90-degree angles. It'll start to droop. And even though, you know, at 89 degrees, you won't be able to tell it. 88, you probably still wouldn't tell it. It may get down though as low as 80 if you're not careful, and you'll be able to spot that 80-degree difference. All right, so I'm giving mine just a little bit longer here to dry because I really want to make sure that it's adhered and it's sealed. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so you see how it's at that 90-degree angle? It's me, that angle right here, and that's really important. All right, so I'm gonna put mine off to the side there. Let's work on the base next. Whew, this is turning out to be a long video, but we're getting there. We really are getting there. Let me move my ruler there. Okay, so this top part is going to be just the outer part of our base. It's for decoration, really, just to add a little bit so it's not so blah. And so once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to be really, really gentle with folding this one because it's just got so much openness to it that it's really not, it's going to be really hard to fold it. So I've done that side. I'm going to do this one as well. And again, just using my ruler to bend everything there. I'm also going to come and do, you'll find that there's a little tiny flap here. Yes, it's there for a reason as well, because when we go and add this top part of our base to the bottom part of our base here, if we don't have this flap, then we're gonna have little slots peeking through and it just won't look as seamless with our lamppost here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these up as well. And just really make sure that you get your ruler right along the edge as you're folding. And I did that one. Let's do this side here too. And now for this last one here. And the flaps on this side as well. And so these tiny flaps are just really hard because there's just not a lot of paper there. But we can't have a lot of paper there because we're going to be gluing it to the side, the adjoining side. And so we couldn't have a lot of paper there for the glue. And now this last part. Okay. And now that we've got it there, we just have to flip everything, but that's not hard, okay? Because once we've got it bent once, the rest becomes easy. And there's this part. If you wanted to skip this section and not add this decorative part to it, that's okay too. You don't have to keep it. And so I'm going to do the flaps next. And again, when you're doing the flaps, just make sure that you take your time here with these. Because there's such little paper, it's going to want to do its own little thing here. Okay. That's the one. Now for the other. And for the other side as well. All right, so that's the one side, and now the last side. This part is the hardest, I think, out of the entire assembly here. Although I guess you could say maybe the diamond beads were, because they're tiny. Okay. All right, so when you have that part, what you want to do is go ahead and add the glue along the flaps here to join them together. So I've done that one. And this is another one where take a few seconds and give the glue a chance to really bond. And if you have some seeping glue, just go ahead and just wipe it along there. And this side kind of reminds me of the front of a train or something. Yeah, a train would be a good idea too, right? Okay, so now the other side I'm just adding it as well. Making sure that I've got my cardstock pulled all the way down, so that way there's no like excess towards the top, otherwise it won't sit flush on top of the bottom piece there. All right, and now the other side. And again, just make sure that it's there, and then just give it that chance to dry. And then for the other part here. Okay. Whew. This, I think, is going to turn out to be somewhat of a long video. I'm going to have to see how I can speed up some of this here for us, so that way it's not too bad. Okay. And then once you have it, that's what it should do. Kind of looks like a little basket too when you flip it the other way. All right, okie doke. So now we've got the bottom base, and we're going to need our larger square that's on craft board. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to score it again. So I'm just using, again, my ruler's right up at the edge of these score lines. And all I'm doing is lifting up here. And I'm going to come along and do the flaps again. And this bottom flap as well. And this one, these side flaps from the other side, the bottom flap, and then the last side one here. And then this last bottom one as well. And I think that's it, right? Yep. So again, once you have them scored, just fold the other way. Remember, it's so much easier once you get it defined. So take all the flaps that you scored and score them and fold them the other way. And this last one here. And, ooh, okay. I started to bend that section there. It's going a little too fast. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and glue those side flaps to the piece, the flap that's next to it. So I've got this one here, I'm gluing it right there. And again, I'm just using my fingers on the inside to press it and hold it so it bonds. I'm gonna do that over on this side as well. So press it and hold it. And then again, for this side, I need to fill my glue. Press it and hold it. And then the last side here. Okay. And then press it and hold it. And so also, the reason why I went with a darker gray here for the bottom and then the black on the outside was just to add a little bit of dimension to the look of the post. You could have used black if you wanted to, but it wouldn't really pop that there's something else on top. And so that's why I went ahead and I did it that way. Whoops. Okay. And so what you want to do next is just kind of eyeball where in the center you think this is going to be. So I've got my craft board base. So just eyeball where in the center you think this is going to sit. And then what you're going to do is, let me just make sure that I've got my sizing right here too. Okay, that looks pretty good. So eyeball where in the center you want it to be, and then go ahead and add the glue to the bottom on all four sides all at once, because you're not going to be able to lift this one up to do it side by side. So all four sides all at once. And then again, kind of eyeball where the center should be. So I think I've probably got, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch on each side here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So about 1/4 of an inch, and then just press it down. And again, hold it. Take your pencil and then go along and press down on the inside exactly where you know those flaps are going to be, which is going to be right up along the edge. And so if it starts to push out, push it back in. Okay, and just press it down. Give it that couple of seconds to adhere and dry. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then take your base and you're gonna put it right on top, but if you need to, turn it to make sure that it goes all the way. Mine kind of came out a little bit at the bottom here. But that's okay. And then what you're ready to do, once you make sure that it's seated on top, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add glue on the inside here. Hopefully you guys can see this part. So I'm adding glue, not a lot, just a little bit going down all the different sides because I want it to stick everywhere. So hopefully you guys can see this. Whoops. add the glue, kind of go up and down everywhere to make sure that it sits. And then again, when you're ready, press it down and use your hands just to smooth all of it down so that way the glue gets everywhere. And it's really it's really sticking. All right, so there we go. All right, so now we're gonna start working our way up into the vertical space. And so hopefully I don't actually hit my camera. I have my stool here to help me because my workbench is about 48 inches off of the ground. My camera's about a little bit over, I think, the 2 feet high, and I'm 5'5", so we'll see. All right, so just make sure that everything is glued. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our post part, and that's going to fit right in through this top part here. If you need to tilt it and turn it, then you might need to do that. I'm trying to find just that right spot because it should slide right in. And there it goes. All right, so this is the right spot. I think I like it better though here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the glue, we're going to add glue right here at the bottom. Hopefully you guys can see again. Right here at the bottom, just add a good bit of glue. And then take it and fish it right through the base here. So before I do it. So there you go. You can see, just kind of fish it right through the base and press it all the way down until you get to the bottom. Okay? And then again, give it a chance to adhere and glue. Okay. So just kind of press it and hold it and give it those few moments. All right, so now you can kind of see mine. Okay, and so remember we left our flaps open like this. Our flaps are going to kind of go right on top of the smaller square that we cut with the craft board, okay? So we're going to take that, and this is going to be kind of the base for our lantern here. And what you want to do is kind of come back over on this side, and again, hopefully, let's see. Again, you kind of want to make sure that that's right somewhere in the center. So let me glue it this way so hopefully you guys can see it a little bit more. So you'll see it, you probably can't see it because of this part here. So I'll just keep going this way. So you kind of want to make sure that it's right in the center. Again, so add the glue to this part here. And then line it up. I'm going to flip mine over so I can see it on this end as well. Just before, you really kind of want to make sure that it's good before that glue really bonds, and then you're stuck again because that's not fun. Okay. And before I go ahead and add my top, so you can see, ooh, oh, I think I've got maybe 4 inches before it hits the top of my camera here. So before I go ahead and add the top, I'm going to go ahead and add the garland as well. And this will be another tricky part that you guys might not be able to see. So I'm going to take my garland and I'm actually going to come around to the back of where mine is, I'm going to take it and fish it right through this hole here, okay? I'm going to fish it off to the side, just like this, and fish it down. And then it's just going to wrap around my post. And so what I'm going to try and do is just be really careful as I'm going ahead and doing it. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to add the glue. Let me use my paper towel here. I've got a lot seeping out from the top. So I'm going to add the glue to the bottom of my garland. So I just did about that. And I'm going to fish it right down in here at the back. Of course, it's going to be difficult. And add it right there just to start. So I had a little bit of a mess with it, so I'm just going to wipe it off. Remember, the great thing about the art glitter glue, it dries clear. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of wrap it around my post. And so you can add as much space that you want to yours, or as little space as possible. I think I'm gonna go for about 4 wraps here. So let me bring it down just a little bit. And I'm going to put it right up underneath my post here. And when you get to the top, what you want to do is, see how it is here? It's going to come to the top. You're going to take your glue and you're going to add it right along there just to make sure that it sticks. So I'm actually going to bend mine here and bend it back a little bit. Add some glue right along here. And again, I'm pressing and holding to make sure that it sticks. So hopefully you guys can see this. I've got the base almost completely in my face here. Okay. And so there. So you can see how it just wraps right around. Oop, this part kind of bent a little. Let's see if I can fix it right here. I think there was more glue there, and that's why. If you want to, you can add glue along these parts of the garland, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna let mine sit there like that because I think it looks a bit more like the garland being wrapped around a pole than if it was glued. So I'm just gonna leave mine there like that. And you can see mine here, this is the base. I might actually go ahead and add a couple more dots there to the end since that's so visible there and it kind of looks, there's a little bit more space. So I might do that at the end of the video though. Okay, so once you have it there, next you want to add your sign to it. So let's bring this here so you guys can hopefully see a little bit more. So next you want to add your sign. You can add it on the back side here if you want. So let's do it this way. You can add it to the back side here if you want so it's not so visible, or you can add it to the front side. Okay, so that way you can see where the chain is. I'm going to add mine to the back side so it's not so visible. And what I'm going to do is I just turned mine around and I'm going to put mine right on that side. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to these top parts here. And I'm just going to kind of bring it out to there. And I just want to check it at the front to make sure that it's not tilted at all. I have glue on my finger, and so I can see it there. Okay, so again, You can see mine right there like that. It's on the back side there. Okay, whew, we're almost done. Long video, right? Okay, so when you go to add the top of the lantern, you have to decide how you want to open your lantern. Do you want your lantern to sit right on the top where you can open it on the side? Do you want to have to turn it so you can open it from the back? I'm going to set mine up so mine is opened from the back. I don't want to, because this is not like a super tight seal, right? So that way we can open and close it. I don't want to be able to have this looseness here visible from the front of my lamppost. So I'm going to be adding mine to the back so my door opens at the back. And the great thing about the lantern is it's exactly the size of this top square. So all you need to do is take your lantern part and add it directly on top of the glue. So I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to add the glue all over to the top part of my square here. Be generous. Don't be stingy with the glue on the top here, okay? I'm going to turn mine backwards so that way I can see it. I'm going to turn my lantern so it opens towards me because that's what I want at the back. And I'm just going to seal it up here. I'm going to take it and place it right on top of that square. And I'm just going to use my hand there. I'm going to open up my door. I'm going to use my hand and press it on the inside right here. So that way it's nice and firm and I know that it's not going anywhere. And hopefully you guys can see all of this in the camera. Okay. And so once again, you can see it like that. I am so excited about this project. It is so cute. It turned out so good. And so I'm just going to close it into those flaps there. And that's it. It finishes it. So hopefully you guys can see mine. Hopefully yours is turning out amazing as well. I can't wait to take pictures of this so you guys can see it all. And that's it. So it was a long video. It's a big project. I hope you guys enjoy this. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all of your support and thank you for watching. Happy crafting.